Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Medicare Monday. It's been a while, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about this case study that came out from Benefits Pro, also the top 10 expensive medications as far as what it costs Medicare, what it costs for generics, which I did a video on, and the most expensive drugs, period, which I also did a video on. We'll just touch over the quick overview, but I really want to talk about this. So Medicare Advantage consumers are willing to pay more. Let me just get rid of myself here. In this article, they found that more individuals during this annual election period were enrolling in plans that are what's called premium plan. Most Medicare Advantage members will enroll in a zero premium plan. That means that they're exchanging their Part A and B benefits for a zero premium private insurance plan. For many of my clients, that's not the route that we take. We usually go for a Medicare supplement plan so we can retain the freedom and flexibility that original Medicare Part A and B have, and then buy a Medicare supplement plan G or N, depending on what kind of financial risk we want to hold on to, right? But it says here that Medicare beneficiaries are actually willing to pay for these plans. And the average Medicare Advantage premiums rose to $7 this year. So $7 per month. And about 84% of those selecting Medicare Advantage plan in the first half of enrollment chose zero premium plans compared to 88% in the same period last year. So it just seems like people are becoming more, I guess, aware that the medical incidentals is something that they want to protect against. Now, of course, the true or the most powerful way to protect against outsized medical costs and of course Medicare or any kind of medical catastrophes as far as incidentals is to get a Medicare supplement plan. But here we are, due to the fact that medical inflation, services inflation is rather high. I covered in one of my videos that medical services inflation is likely to hit double digits this year, year over year. Another metric which I'm quite saddened by is this, that a majority of those who switch from Medicare supplement coverage to a Medicare Advantage plan say they prefer the latter, meaning that they prefer the Medicare Advantage plan. And a lot of times that's because it's kind of that instant gain of not having to pay a premium per month. But if something were to happen, then they would unfortunately be in one of those situations, right? Whether it be a claim denied or needing to wait for services to become approved by their Medicare Advantage company, or potentially having no network providers nearby, or having just a large bill. And that can be kind of like that honeymoon phase where you're like, oh, look at that, I'm not that sick, why was I paying all that money for anyway? And to me, that's really unfair to put that metric in here, because we have seen, and I've done other videos on, where the change isn't really felt until much later, and many people have to revert back to original Medicare when they become, advanced age, due to having better nursing home coverage and due to the Medicare Advantage plan actually not having enough services. And while that could be my opinion, it's a statistic that many people in their last years of life actually switch back to original Medicare and unfortunately can't buy a supplement plan, but they have to due to network and sometimes prior authorization and service restrictions. So it's just unfortunate that when they need the coverage the most, they're not actually able to afford a supplement or health qualify into one. And mostly they could not afford the more costly alternative to Medicare Advantage, such as Medicare supplements. So it's going into more of that retirement planning, which I hope that this channel can help plan and also help make your finances a little bit easier to understand, so you can make educated and informed decisions, which is something I'm going to be working on more aggressively here on this channel. But the top 10 prescription medications that cost Medicare the most. So this is not what beneficiaries might pay for the most, but it's what costs Medicare the most. And it's going to be medications that are like Eliquis. Let's go take a look at the list here. Eliquis, which is a blood thinner for AFib. Many people, after they have a heart attack or stroke, end up going on Eliquis. Revlimid, which is a cancer medication. Xarelto, which is pretty much another Eliquis variant. Januvia is a diabetes medication. Trulicity is also a diabetes medication. Imbrivia, which is a cancer medication. Jardiance is another diabetes medication. RA and plaque psoriasis, so Humira, tons of commercials about Humira. Humira is used to treat a lot of autoimmune illnesses like RA and plaque psoriasis. Ibrance, which is cancer, and Symbicort, which is asthma. So many of these illnesses are very much come with age. I have a lot of my members who are on Symbicort, Jardiance, Xarelto, and they're really, really expensive. Most of these folks will end up in the donut hole. And if you know how the Medicare Part D plan works, once you hit the donut hole and you reach catastrophic coverage, Medicare is actually fronting most of the bill, because at that point you've already spent, let's call it maybe not 9,000, but closer to like $4,000 or $5,000 for the whole year in your own spending. The Medicare insurance company has probably spent in their money about $4,000 or $5,000, and then the difference is what Medicare picks up. And that difference is quite high. If you can see that a month of Eliquis is about $600 or $700. So if you times that by 12, and if they're on Eliquis and a bunch of other things, a lot of that is being taken over or paid for by Medicare, and that's what this list is. Another list is the most expensive drugs, period. I'll be doing a video on this later, but a lot of these medications that are here are usually for people who are born with certain genetic abnormalities, and these medications treat those abnormalities. And so a lot of times people who are on Medicare, while Medicare will cover for these, there are not that many instances where people are on it who are on Medicare, unless they're qualified due to a disability or due to having some sort of qualifying medical event that they qualify for Medicare. So not too much of these medications will show up on your prescription list, but it is there. And then the video that recently just came out, these are the most expensive generic drugs that a lot of clients of mine are on. So be sure to watch that video if you haven't already. And that's pretty much all I wanted to do for this video. I kind of want to come back and with the Medicare Monday and give you guys some useful information, give you guys what's going on in the industry. And of course, if you are on a Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement plan, looks like the trend is people are, or at least the trend is turning to where people are looking at spending more money to buy more insurance to kind of cover the catastrophic or more expensive costs of incidentals, due to the fact that everything's seeming to get more expensive. Part D, on the other hand, it's been my experience, the average premiums for Part D plans increased to $32 as compared to $21. I have seen plans go from $10 to almost $30 and $80 to over $110. So the increase for Part D plans, at least in my experience, has been really, really massive. And I think for that reason, it is the most important to watch my video on the most expensive generic medications, so you can perhaps use coupon cards or use cost plus drugs or other alternatives to insurance, so that you can, when plugging in your Part D medication finder in the tool that I use, we can, and I do this for many of my clients, filter out all the expensive generic medications, pay for those with a coupon card, and then use the insurance itself to just pay for the expensive medical or the expensive brand medications like Eliquis or Revlimid or Xarelto. That way we can save that insurance money so that we don't hit the donut hole throughout the year, and just save that insurance money to pay for the more expensive brand name medications. And there's tons of ways we can save, but that's it for this video. Hope you learned something. Have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you in the next video.